Yeah, buddy, lightweight baby. Those four words built a legend and destroyed a spine. Today, the man who used to squat 800 pounds for reps can't walk from his bedroom to his bathroom without help, after more than 10 surgeries on his back and hips. This is how Ronnie Coleman built a multi-million-dollar empire chasing perfection, won 8 Mr. Olympia titles, and then paid for it with almost everything except his spirit, and why he still says he'd do it all over again. The war wounds of a king. Picture this. Old training footage of Ronnie under an 800-pound barbell. Veins popping, sweat pouring, screaming, "Lightweight, baby!" as the crowd in the gym loses its mind. Cut hard to present-day Ronnie, slowly moving with a cane, then transferring into a wheelchair, trying to smile through obvious pain. On paper, he's the American dream. From a small-town kid to a police officer to an 8-time Mr. Olympia, to a man whose net worth has been estimated in the $15 to $22 million range across his career and business ventures. But here's the twist. The same insane work ethic that made him rich, famous, and arguably the greatest bodybuilder of all time is the exact thing that crushed his spine. Was it dedication or self-destruction in slow motion? Rewind. From quiet cop to unstoppable monster. But it wasn't always like this. Before the wheelchairs, before the back braces, Ronnie Coleman was just a young guy who couldn't even get a job in accounting and ended up working at Domino's, and then as a cop in Arlington, Texas. He started bodybuilding while still working full-time as a police officer, training after long shifts, grinding in silence while everyone else slept. Here's the crazy part. At first, bodybuilding wasn't making him rich at all. Prize money in the early days was small, and Ronnie was still clocking in as an officer up until around 2000, even as he started stacking up pro wins. He wasn't the genetically chosen one everyone expected to dominate. He just showed up, year after year, with a work rate that didn't make sense to normal people. Imagine going from writing traffic reports to becoming the most feared bodybuilder on the planet. Building the empire, 8 Olympias, and millions. Then everything changed. Ronnie Coleman didn't just win Mr. Olympia. He took over the entire stage. He won 8 straight Olympia titles, tying the all-time record and setting a new standard for size, conditioning, and freaky strength. While other bodybuilders focused on posing, Ronnie was in the gym moving weights that powerlifters respected. 800-pound squats, 800-pound deadlifts, 495-pound bench presses for reps, and the money finally followed. At his peak, Ronnie was reportedly making around $6 million a year from bodybuilding-related income. Competition earnings, appearances, DVDs, endorsements, and later his own products. He filmed legendary training videos that turned into cult classics. He signed endorsement deals with major supplement brands, and he became a global brand ambassador for companies like Gold's Gym, earning 7-figure royalties. Then came the true empire move.
And that has helped tremendously. That took away pretty much all the pain I was going through.
In 2011, Ronnie launched his own supplement company, Ronnie Coleman's Signature Series, selling pre-workouts, proteins like Pro-Antium, and other products to fans who wanted even a tiny piece of his intensity. He added a clothing line, Coleman Athletics Apparel, with t-shirts, hoodies, and gym gear stamped with his slogans and his name. Across his peak years and into retirement, analysts estimate his total net worth hovering somewhere in that $15 to $22 million range when you combine prize money, endorsements, business equity, real estate, and assets like his house in Arlington and luxury cars. From the outside, it looked perfect. A king of bodybuilding, a successful businessman, and a beloved icon who would travel up to 300 days a year shaking hands, signing autographs, and meeting fans. But while the money and trophies piled up, so did the damage. The first cracks. I just kept working out. The warning signs started way before the wheelchairs. Ronnie had injured his back as a powerlifter in high school and from football in college, so he already knew pain. But in 1996, during an intense squat session, something different happened. He heard a loud crunching sound in his back. Most people would stop immediately. Ronnie? He finished the workout. He later said he lost a little strength, felt the pain, but the athlete in him just said, "Let's go on." Hours later, the pain got so bad that he ended up in the emergency room, and doctors discovered that he had herniated a disc. A herniated disc isn't some minor tweak. If it goes wrong, it can literally lead to paralysis. Doctors told him what any sane person would expect to hear. You need to back off, you need treatment, you need to change how you train. But Ronnie admitted he just kept working out, lifting through that herniated disc for nearly a decade while winning all 8 of his Olympia titles. Imagine gambling your ability to walk, just to squeeze a few more years of dominance out of your body. Ignoring the red lights ain't nothing but a peanut. This is where the story shifts from inspiring to terrifying. Ronnie Coleman wasn't just training hard, he was training like pain didn't exist. He would go into the gym with cameras rolling, grab 200-pound dumbbells, or load the bar up to 800 pounds and scream out phrases that would become memes and mantras. "Yeah, buddy, ain't nothing but a peanut," as if the laws of biology didn't apply to him. Fans loved it. The videos went viral in the fitness world long before viral was even a thing. Behind the scenes, though, the damage was adding up. His discs had started to fail, one after another. He described it like stacking soda cans. Once you knock one out of alignment, the others start falling too. Every heavy squat, every deadlift, every time he trained through serious pain instead of resting, he was pushing that spine closer to collapse. Friends, trainers, and even people on his own team told him to slow down, to see a doctor, to not wait until it was too late. His own director once told him, "You're in so much pain, you need to stop." Ronnie's response, he said he was going to roll with this pain until the wheels roll off, and he meant it literally.
That secret weapon on.
And then, the wheels really did start to come off. The cascade of surgeries. After he retired from competition in 2007, the bill for those glory years finally came due. That same year, he had his first big back surgery, a laminectomy on his L4 to L5 discs. That's a procedure where surgeons remove part of the vertebra to relieve pressure on the nerves. Serious stuff, not a quick fix. But it didn't end there. Over the next several years, his medical history read like a war report. December 2007, laminectomy of L4 to L5. July 2011, disc decompression at L3 to L4. December 2011, fusion of his neck at C4 to C5 to C6. July 2014, left hip replacement with screws. August 2014, right hip replacement with more screws. July 2015, fusion of L3 to L4. And those are just the documented major ones. He's had over 10 surgeries total on his back and hips, with metal rods, screws, and cages, holding parts of his spine together. The pain was so intense that he said he's in serious pain every single day of his life. What makes it even more brutal? He didn't stop traveling and doing appearances when he should have. He pushed through tours around the US, Canada, and Australia, even when his hips had no cartilage left. At one point, he was doing meet and greets in a wheelchair because he refused to cancel on fans after promising he'd be there. He sacrificed his body on stage and then sacrificed whatever was left of it on the road. Today, rich, respected, and barely able to walk. Now in his late 50s, Ronnie Coleman is a shell of the physical monster he once was, but not in the way you might think. The muscle is smaller, sure, but what really hits you is his mobility. He uses a cane, often needs a wheelchair, and struggles with simple tasks like walking short distances around his house. Everyday life, things most people don't think about, is now a constant challenge. Yet financially and professionally, he's still that larger-than-life figure. His supplement brand is still known worldwide. His name sells merch, and his legacy content keeps pulling in money through social media, documentaries, and collaborations. He owns a sizable home in Arlington, Texas, along with luxury vehicles like a Rolls-Royce and a Porsche 911, proof that the empire he built didn't disappear when his body broke down. He He continues to travel for expos, do interviews, and appear at bodybuilding events, often with fans lining up for hours just to shake his hand or get a photo. Even the guys he once battled on stage treat him like the godfather of the sport. Stories from the 2013 Olympia describe every single competitor coming over backstage to greet him like he was royalty. And here's the part that really messes with your head. Ask him if he regrets any of it. And he says, no. No regrets. I would have trained harder. This is the emotional core of Ronnie Coleman's story. People look at him now, see the scars, the braces, the crutches, the chair, and they ask the obvious question, was it worth it? Ronnie's answer is almost unbelievable. He has said very clearly that it was worth it without a doubt. Not only that, he said if he could go back, the only thing he'd change is that he would have trained harder. He even talks specifically about that legendary 800-pound squat. He did it for 2 reps on video.
I'm trying to put on as much good weight as possible.
A lift that's become one of the most iconic moments in bodybuilding history. But in his own mind, that wasn't enough. He says he knows he could have done 4 reps, but he had only planned for 2, so that's all he did. If he had a chance to do it again, knowing it would lead to multiple surgeries and chronic pain, he says he'd go back and make sure he got all 4 reps. That's not bravado. That's how he truly sees life. For Ronnie, training wasn't just a job. It was his identity, his passion, his purpose. In one reflection, he said if he died in the gym, training, he would still feel like his life was fulfilled. He'd rather suffer now than look back and feel like he left something on the table. So, is this courage? Or the scariest form of obsession you've ever seen? Legacy, genius, madness, or both? So how do we judge a life like Ronnie Coleman's? On one hand, he's the blueprint for going all in. A man who came from modest beginnings, worked 2 careers at once, and turned his obsession with lifting into global fame, a powerful brand, and an estimated multi-million-dollar net worth over his lifetime. On the other hand, he's a walking or barely walking reminder of what happens when you ignore every red flag your body throws at you. His story forces a question on every athlete, every gym rat, every ambitious person watching this. Where is your line? Is greatness worth permanent damage? Is being the greatest of all time worth not being able to walk pain-free with your kids or grandkids one day? Ronnie's answer is clear. Yes, absolutely. But that doesn't mean it has to be yours. What makes his legacy so powerful in American fitness culture is that it holds 2 truths at the same time. He's the ultimate inspiration, proof that insane discipline and passion can take you from a regular day job to world domination and financial success. But he's also a cautionary tale, showing what can happen when no quit becomes no limits, and you stop respecting the one body you'll ever have. So now it's your turn. If you knew that chasing your dream at full speed would make you a legend, maybe even earn you $15 million over your lifetime, but leave you needing a wheelchair just to get through the airport, would you still do it? Drop your answer in the comments. Are you team no regrets like Ronnie or team longevity first? If this story made you think differently about hustle, pain, and what worth it really means, make sure you smash that like button. Share this video with a friend who trains heavy, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into the real price of greatness. And hey, turn on notifications because the next story might just change how you see your own limits.